I'm a runner. I've run all of my life. That's what I do, not just to keep myself physically fit, but also mentally fit. I started to develop problems, and that was a recurrent pain in my right Achilles. And it had got to such a level where I really wasn't able to run at all. Tried other forms of exercise, cycling, swimming, but none of those things really did it for me mentally, didn't allow me that relaxation that I find with running. So if you ask my wife, she'd probably tell you I'd become quite miserable. And my wife came along to Kelly's Pilates classes, and I'd come to pick her up one day, and I just noticed a poster on the wall in the studio that said, "Do you have recurrent pain? If so, that might be an alignment issue." So I made arrangements to come and see Kelly. One really basic question that Kelly asked me at the time was, has anybody ever taught you how to run? And that's such a simple question, because nobody ever had taught me how to run. Because how I was running and how that running stance had evolved over the years was clearly putting a lot of strain on that right Achilles. So one of the first things Kelly did was looked at my footwear, and what I hadn't realised, that even wearing the smallest heel, a sort of 1 centimetre heel, would add to that Achilles problem. So we started some minimalist footwear and as much barefoot walking as I could. But she also gave me a range of strengthening exercises to do. And then she rebuilt my running stance, and just being able to run around the block. Running around the block, 400 metres at the most, was such a thrill for me, because I could do it without pain. Kelly's really extended my running life, which I thought was at an end. What really impressed me about Kelly was, coming from a medical background myself, I'm used to working with physiotherapists. They were good at easing the injury, but what they weren't so good at was trying to tell me why the injury kept recurring and what could be done to prevent it from recurring in the future. The detail that Kelly went into, the time that she took, the explanations that she had, I could really understand and relate to what she was saying from a medical background, and it made absolute sense to me. Kelly really has inspired me to think about my role as a physician differently. I used to think it was my job to fix people. The way that Kelly comes at things is it's the person's role to fix themselves. They just need some help, some education, some tips, some hints, some explanation. Pain doesn't need painkillers. It needs to think about why, and then how can the body work differently? How can the biomechanics of the body work differently to prevent that pain from coming back in the first place?